Why would the apology make you a loser?
It would make me feel vindicated.
Justified.
Yes, like, man, you did this to me. I can go be a loser now.
My failings are okay.
It's okay.
Yep.
Because you did this. So I was looking for that. And when I went there, I realized, because this voice in here was saying, it's not your dad's fault. And I'm like, nah, man. Because this voice over here always said, it's your dad's fault. This other voice started tuning in, was loud, started getting louder. The more I drove to Buffalo, was saying, you get to face a lot of shit, young man. You got a long journey ahead of you, because you're going to find out that while your dad did a lot of shit to you, you're going to have to fucking make it on your own. And the voice got louder and louder and louder. And by the time I got to that door, and by the time I was leaving that house, instead of me feeling sorry for myself, I started to do a live autopsy. A lot of people, when you die, they figure out why you died. They figure out how you died in the autopsy. But we never do a live autopsy to figure out why we're dying while we are alive. And I was dying. I was living every day, but I was really dead. And so I figured it out. And once I figured it out, I was able to be reborn.
What we see is this pattern of generational trauma. Mm-hmm. Your grandfather to your father to you, mm-hmm. Father to son, just being passed on. Mm-hmm. Is this part of your mission to be a circuit breaker, to be a dam, to stop this trauma from moving forward into the next generation?
100%. But with people, I'm trying to build people up. I'm trying to armor their mind. I'm trying to get them the belief. Because this world we live in is tough. It's tough. It will beat you down. The world and the life that we live in is the ultimate competitor. It will try to take you out. It will find your weakness, and it will fucking just hammer you.
It's like a personal curse.
100%. So if I can help you build belief, build confidence to the point where nothing can hurt you because you know exactly who you are. You've faced your demons. You've been able to go on an audiobook in your mind. Maybe you didn't write a book, but in your mind, you were able to hear all your past traumas. You were able to listen to them. You're able to fucking say, okay, now I can now talk to people about what I went through. I'm no longer embarrassed. I'm no longer ashamed. Being ashamed is one of the biggest things that kill people nowadays. In their minds, kill them from moving forward. I'm ashamed of myself. Don't ever be ashamed of anything you've done in your life. Face it, fix it, make it better. We are humans. But then again, if you always think that we're humans, you will always just be a human and always make the same fucking mistakes. You must take this knowledge that you learn from all this shit, this knowledge. So I'm just trying to give people that strength to go in the archives of your life. Because while you're probably fucked up, it's probably something happened to you in your life. Go through the archives, dig it up, study it, and then use it for yourself. That's the main purpose for me right now.
Have you considered what you would be like as a father?
Yeah, I actually have a daughter right now. Yeah.
No way, I didn't know.
Yeah, I have a daughter right now. But that being said, I'm an open and honest person. When you meet people at a young age, so I had a kid at a young age when I was in the worst possible place in my life. So when you're in a bad place, you're not gonna meet a Kish. You're gonna meet a person that's very similar to who you are at that time. And then you bring a child into this world. And as you start to move up in this world and get better, you realize I need to get better. You try to pull that person along with you. A lot of times they don't want to come where you're going. And it creates a bad environment. So that's where that is right now. But my daughter's 21 years old.
Wow.
Yeah.
I'm glad to hear that. I think that it would be all of the learnings and stuff that you've been through as a father, as a son, as a grandson. It makes sense to me that would have been something that could have been passed down. Mm-hmm. So thinking about trauma and stuff that you go through in your past, throughout most of school for me, I was pretty isolated, only child, pretty unpopular in school. And the main issue that I had was, it wasn't bullying, it was isolation. I think it was being lonely.
Right.
And that was primarily what was causing me to be sad throughout school.
Right.
So I do this interview for the BBC about 6 months ago. And in it I talk about, I haven't opened up that much about bullying. I need to do it more. And it is, even from watching you go through opening up about your traumas, it is inspiring. So I do this interview for the BBC and I mention a little bit about bullying in school. And
so why don't you mention it?
I haven't got around to it yet. I maybe still feel like it detracts from the man that I want to be, the masculine man, the respected podcaster, that it somehow undermines me as a person, that it makes me weaker, which is obviously what was, part of the bullying's purpose in school, to be able to do precisely that.
Right.
So I do this interview for the BBC, and I mention in 2 paragraphs or something, but millions of people see this article. And I get back one day, and in my Instagram message requests is this message from a guy, and I kind of recognize his name, but not fully. And I don't know whether you know, but there's like a character limit in Instagram.
Yes.
And this is 5 character limit messages long, with multiple paragraphs within each of them, right? So I open it up, and this guy says, "Hi Chris, you might not remember me, but we went to school together. I bullied you. My daughter is 4 and she's about to go to school. And given that she's about to go to school, me and my wife have been discussing about the kind of child that we want her to be. And that caused me to reflect on my time that I spent in school. I've been thinking about messaging you for a while. I've been considering talking to you because I really felt like I needed to, because I felt ashamed of the way that I treated you in school and I knew that it had hurt you. And then I saw this article from the BBC and I just had to reach out. And I've been sleepless nights, speaking to the wife, tears and all the rest of it. And I just wanted to say that I'm sorry. I'm very sorry for what I did. I wanted to let you know that my daughter is going to be raised in a way that will never treat anybody like that again. I don't expect you to forgive me. I don't even know if you'll see this message. I'm happy to see that you seem to be happy. But I needed to get it off my chest.
Right.
I'm like, fuck, totally taken aback. Like, wasn't prepared for this. I've come back in from the gym or something and I'm sat reading this message like, fucking hell, that's heavy. So I go back through and I think, well, how do I feel about this? How do I feel about this person? How do I feel about my experience?
Right.
Because it was so formative, right? It shaped so much of the way that I see myself, the way that I see the world. I had to deprogram so much of the patterns that I'd learned through that time. My desire for validation from other people, my need to be liked, my constant vigilance, my ambient anxiety that was always looking for what was going on, my concern of being left out, my adamant nature that everybody was able to judge something about me that I didn't know about myself. But this guy had like fully opened up to me, and I thought, well, it was beautiful. It was a beautiful message. So I replied to him and I said, hey man, I very much appreciate you reaching out. I think it's an incredibly brave thing to do. And if me going through what I went through and then the pain and discomfort and such, and your subsequent suffering of reflecting on what you did, if that has led to a world in which your daughter will be the sort of person who will behave in a manner that's going to make the world a better place going forward, I think that's a price that's worth paying.
That's awesome, man. That's a great story. That's a great story. And you're the expert on it. That's why you should talk about bullying.
I know.
Yeah, you're the expert. And that's why I do it. That's why I become so vulnerable. Because all that knowledge you gain, because now you are successful. And there's so many people who are getting bullied in so many ways that, you just show them that there's a path. But the path is really, like I talk about, studying the bully. That's the path. Studying the bully.
Were you ever tempted to become a bully?
Never. I'm always, like I said, like I told you before this started, I wanted to be a priest. You know, and
Could you imagine one of those sermons?
oh, it'd be sick because I would cuss. Because I would definitely cuss.
Praise the Lord, motherfuckers.
That's it. I would definitely cuss. I would definitely cuss, man, because that's the world. And there's a lot of people who probably hear this like, oh my God, oh my God, let me close my ear. You know, the world's tough. The world's tough. And when you come up the way I came up, the only way I can fucking describe something sometimes is say fuck a motherfucker. Because that's how dark this shit was. And I can't make it flowery. I can't make it PG. Like, oh, I want my kids to, like, I have a clean edition of this book.
You have a non-explicit version?
Yes, because people are like, I want my kid to read your book, but you cuss so much, I can't.
I imagine it's about half the size.
Yes, it's very small.
Yes.
So the funny thing about it is, like, how long are you going to shelter your child from a world that's evil as shit? That's gonna come at you. It's gonna come at you whether you've been bullied or not. There's gonna come a time when it's gonna come at you. And it's gonna be a lot worse than fuck or motherfucker. It's gonna be a lot worse. And so we are training kids and people to be soft in a world that continuously gets harder. And it doesn't correlate. Like that guy talking about the tear gas with the SEALs. Is that necessary? I don't know. But what is necessary is you have to build a person that can withstand the pressures of whatever they're going to be dealing with in life. And we don't do that. I'm not trying to send a message of run 200 miles, be the baddest motherfucker in the world, but be tough. You better have a part about you that's tough, a part about you that can break down situations and get better. And break down situations very quickly within some trauma in your life, some devastation in your life, because it's gonna come. The devastation, the trauma is gonna come, and you can't allow that to become a Jersey barrier. It can't be a Jersey barrier. It has to be something that you can maneuver through very quickly and move forward. That takes a lot of toughness.
Well, unchosen suffering is gonna happen, right? So the only thing that you can do is have some chosen suffering to prepare for it.
It's the only thing you can do. That's the only thing you can practice for the unchosen suffering. It's that chosen suffering. Do something that sucks every day.
I had Huberman on the show a few months ago, and he told me about bringing you into his lab and putting you in VR underwater with sharks.
Right.
Give me your experience with Huberman.
He's great. He knows his stuff. He knows his stuff. Yeah, he's a very knowledgeable man on what he's doing.
What's being in VR with sharks like?
It's nothing.
No?
No, because one thing about me is I deal in reality. You put me in VR, it's VR. It's a fake thing. And I work in reality. I only work in reality. I don't work in fake situations. So that's why it didn't work on me. You put me in a real ocean with real sharks, you'll get your real reaction. You put me in a room when you walk in the door and you sit down in the chair and you put some shit on your fucking face, I know I'm in a fucking chair. I know